go. We are here live Wednesday night. This is going to be our weekly Project Healing Waters special. And we're going to be ramping up here in just a minute. Kind of do our systems check. Make sure we're able to see our very own live stream. So how's everybody doing tonight? Happy Wednesday. It's great to be alive. It's great to be here today. It's great to be here with you. And I'm glad you're here to be with me. Trying to pull up this YouTube channel over here. So, go ahead and join me in the comments. What you're going to have to do is you're going to have to scroll down. I don't want to see my subscriptions. So tonight we're going to be tying a little Marabou Muddler Minnow variation. There we go. So we're going to give everybody just a few minutes to join us. Hop in. I'm going to show you guys how to find the chat. I know I talked to some people that had a little bit of difficulty that was finding the chat. Alright, so let's see. Those of you might not be that good. Anyways, when we're watching the video, all the way down on the bottom of your screen, that's where you can type hiya. Where'd my camera go? Hi, and welcome to the live stream. Alright, so let's go ahead and get this going. Damn. Alright. Hey, Josh. What's going on? Gotta turn my volume down here. Alright, so what we're working on here is a variation of that Muddler Minnow. So let's go ahead and take a quick look. So anyways, to get to the chat, you're going to have to scroll all the way down. I got it set up here. Just keep scrolling, keep scrolling. I don't know where it went now. Anyways, we're going to tie our Marabou. We got a couple of hours to burn, and we're going to go ahead and get this flag started. So if you are having any kind of difficulty hearing what I'm saying, or if there's any audio issues, please feel free to jump in and say hi. There we go, live chat. Alright, so I'll pull this up one more time. Alright, so if you're looking on a phone, right here on the left, it says live chat. That's where you want to pull up the live chat, and then you can chat on the bottom. So that's where I will be monitoring this live stream, and the chat is off my cell phone. So, Andreas, good evening. Let's get this guy going. So, for our hook, we'll just kind of talk about the fly at first. This was kind of a quick, let me just make sure I have all my materials. And of course, I forgot a little bit of something as I tied this in. So we're going to cover that as we move forward. Yeah, we'll just kind of cover everything as we go along. I'm not going to spend too much time talking about it too much at first, because we're going to cover it all as this train moves along. So, I'm going to tie this on a Gamakatsu B10S stinger hook. This is size 2. I really like these hooks. They're pretty sharp. any streamer size, you know, larger streamer size hook. I'm going to be fishing this for bass and things like that there. So we'll get that in the vise. And we're going to move some stuff around because I got some funky looking shadows going. So, alright, let's get our Marabou muddler going. We'll start off with our thread. Size 2 hook thread. I'm going to use my 210 denier flat wax thread. And don't worry about trying to write all this down right away. I will be uploading, or later on after the live stream, I will be updating the description where I'll have a full recipe. And if you're watching the previous videos, 99% of my videos I will have a recipe in the video description. So we go ahead and start our thread. And let's see, I'm going to go all the way to the butt. Nice little thread base. And we're going to start it off early. We're going to synchronize our watches. We're going to start off with our little red tail. And of course, you know what that means. It's hackle time already, ladies and gentlemen. It's already hackle time. So I'm just going to use this red, what is this? It's a red strung rooster, saddles, long, red / natural. Just going to go ahead and get rid of that. Get rid of the fluff, and then we'll do our little high and tight. We're going to do our little trim on either side of the quill. And, you know, my general disclaimer, this is, like always, a way to tie this. It's by no means the way to tie this. Everybody's got their own little flavor thrill. Good evening, Frank. Thanks for tuning in. How you doing, bud? Glad you're able to find us. All right, so this is going to be my tail, but this is not how it's going to fish. What we're going to do is we're going to palmer. I'm going to take a couple of wraps. 1, 2, 3, maybe one more. There we go. 4 turns. That'll be it. We need to go 2 bananas. We'll go ahead and tighten that down. And this would be a great scrap to save for another fly. So we're going to save that for later. We're going to save that for a rainy day. Set that off to the side. Alright, we're going to take our little batch of hackle, fold it up and towards the rear, and I'm going to wrap on top of that a little bit. Working my way right to that bend. I like that. And what that did is that gave us a nice little... It's totally different than my first sample. This, what I had on the vise before, I just quick threw it together. So this is what we're going to do. It's about a hook scap, just a little tag end. Not really a big old tail, if you will. Alright, while we're back there, we're going to tie in our chenille. Oh no, first we're going to start with our wire. Get some wire. And for our wire, this is going to be a small, I'm using a small, you could use a small or a brassy or even up to a medium sized wire. So we're going to go ahead and just tie this in. Maybe not that far forward, let's cinch that back a little bit. There we go. And we're going to take that all the way to our hackle. Excellent. I'm going to set that off to the side. Oh, hopefully that didn't break it. Set that off to the side. Now we can tie in our chenille. You know, you could get away with all sorts of different things. You know, maybe on a next one we might switch up to this silver braid. Maybe on our next one. I kind of like the look of this it's a little bit darker, but it's got that silver flash into it. We'll clean off our end, and we'll just tie that in by our little threads. And that's our super simple back half. Right at about that, we'll go forward a little bit, right about that 1/3, 2/3 point. That's kind of a, if you haven't noticed, that's kind of a common position to take note of when you're tying flies, is that 1/3, 2/3 point. A lot of things happen around that section. So yeah, every Wednesday, it's amazing. We here in the great state of Minnesota, we just received our stay-at-home orders. That means if you don't have to go out, don't go out. That's for the next 2 weeks. Bars and such are closed through the end of April. Basically, May 1st is kind of a rough timeline as to when things are going to get going back. So, I'm thinking it's going to be at least July, August, maybe September or October, or if ever again we're allowed to, do our Project Healing Waters thing at the VA hospital again. But that's not going to stop us. We're going to figure out, some place to meet here in the future. If we can't get in and do our thing at the VA hospital, then we'll take our operation outside, wherever we can safely meet. All right. I kind of just chitter-chattered right over that, like we've done this 1,000 times, but got a lot of stuff on my mind. It's been a day. So I took touching wraps of that chenille to that 1/3, 2/3 point, and then I did an open spiral, counter wrapping that with my ribbing. And most people would come out there and just helicopter that off, but I'm going to use my wire nippers and just give that a nice little clean trim. Alright, so one of the bits that I forgot on my first round was, actually I forgot to add in a little bit of hair wing underneath my Marabou. Don't tell anybody. But we're going to come in with just a little bit of bucktail. Nothing too much. Sparse as narce. I'm going to take a little section of this, and this is going to be a little underwing for our Marabou. Alright, let's go ahead and clean that off. We're going to grab the tips, and then we'll strip and pull all that junk down. Alright, got our tips. We're going to go tips down in our hair stacker. Just like that, and we'll give that a couple knocks. Hello, come in. Alright, so this is our underwing. Got one little, there we go. We're going to tie this in, line up with our back of our tail. Our little tag. Move my thread just back just a little bit further. There we go. Alright, right at that 1/3, 2/3 point, and we're going to line up our wing with our tip of our tail. We're going to keep our wing on top. We'll take a couple of wraps up front. Make sure you cut that at an angle. That way we can just lash that down like so. Fantastic. Now, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, your tendency is going to be wanting to crowd the eye of the hook on this one, so be sure to maintain your lane, keep your distance. Keep your distance now. All right. Marabou. A nice big old beautiful puffy marabou. And what I'm going to do is right here at the tip. Don't tell no one. I'm going to trim just a little bit of that tip off. That's going to give us a little bit cleaner of a wing. Let's go ahead and take our marabou wing and we're going to lay that right on top. Not using that whole feather. I'm not trying to jam that whole thing in there. In fact, we can trim some of that off. Again, right there at the length of that tag end. That's where I like to take it to. Right on top of that bucktail. Make sure it stays on top. Wrap underneath to keep it from spinning. Go ahead and trim that off nice and tight. Here we go. Hey Dave, thanks for tuning in. Oh man, I could tie a woolly bugger every day. I could tie a woolly bugger every day. What can I say? Alright, after our marabou, we're going to come in with our Peacock Herl. And this isn't the greatest quality of stuff. This is actually the bottom little bits. This is usually when you get the pack, everything's a lot taller, and this is, yeah, there we go. There's a side by side on length. We're getting towards the end on this bag. This isn't the Primo stuff. Well, we've been using the Primo stuff on some other flies, but we don't need that much length. I don't know, 1, 2, 3, 4. There's got to be a magic number there somewhere. We're going to tie that on top as well. Go. I like it. Just add water. That'll all settle down. Let's go ahead and trim off those. Alright, what is next? Let's go ahead and we're going to use some Primo deer hair natural brown. We're going to do a little fun. This is my favorite part of the fly. I'm going to take about a pencil's width diameter. I'm going to chomp that off. Maybe that's a little bit too much. We're going to dial that back. And this is I'm really doing this part's being done on my lap. There's really no good way to, unless I got multiple cameras set up. That's not going to happen. All right. Let's see. We got Jeffrey. Yeah, what's going on? Thanks for tuning in. Spread the word, guys and gals. We're going to be doing this for a while. Every Wednesday from now until, I don't know, whenever. Alright, hold on to the tips of your hair real good. You know what we can do, actually, for this part, so you guys can actually see what I'm talking about. Let's go ahead and I'm going to pull out a little bit. Alright. The focus is still locked on manual focus, so we're not going to change our focus on this. But give that a whole pinch and give it a twist. Pinch and twist, and that'll help free up your under fur. A little bit more light out. There we go. And spend the dollar, a whole dollar, get yourself a little eyebrow brush, and that will work wonders for cleaning this out. You really want to get that nice and clean. All right. All right, we're going to go tips down in our hair stacker. We're going to go ahead and do our little helicopter or tornado or cyclone or whatever works best for you. This is what I do. Here we go. Boom. All right. Hey, Chase from the Fort Worth, Texas program. Yeehaw. Thanks for tuning in. Let's go ahead and cut back a little bit closer back to camera. Camera angle 1. Let's see here. There is the stream. Good. All right. Give that a couple wraps. Couple wraps in the hair stacker. Carefully pull this out. What do you know? Our tips are now A-lined. All right. Now here's the fun part. We're not going to get as much flare on our collar piece here, because as we get closer to the tips, the more dense the hair fibers are going to be, and you're not going to get as much flare as you would see there on the rear. But I'm going to go ahead and just trim that up, clean that up a little bit. Alright, set that on top, and I'm going to let it kind of mash around to the sides. I'm going to do 1, 2. Like I said, we're not going to get much flare there. But our next piece will. Give that a push. And I did not spin that. I kept that all on top because I want the bulk of that hair to really stay up top. Do one more wrap. All right, next clump of hair, we're gonna spin it to win it. Same bit of hair. We're gonna take ourselves a nice little clump. And we're not trying to completely fill this whole void up with super dense, packed, and compressed hair. We want it to be somewhat open. All right, same thing. We're gonna cut that off, and we're gonna clean our deer hair. And you know, if you're just starting, save that dubbing that's coming off of the brush. All right, let's go ahead and try this. We're gonna flip that over. The thread I'm using right now is a 210 denier flat waxed thread. Alright, we're going to take our piece, we're going to set that a little bit closer to the butt sections. I'm going to do one full wrap, get a little bit of a flare, and on that second flare, that's where we start to spin it. Once it's done spinning, it's done spinning. You're not going to get any more spin. Alright, where did my technical tool go? I had a very general specific tool for this part of the operation. There it is. Mine is made by Bic. Some of you guys might have one on your bench. We'll come in here, just a little bit of a pack. See how much easier it is to just push it back and grab Thread wraps right there. And where'd my little hair grabber go? Got one of those. That's a pretty handy little tool to have too. Little hair grabber one. Nice little whip finish back there. And a trim. Alright, so looks like fun, doesn't it? Let's go ahead and flare that all out. And I'm looking for all the hair that's not a part of that collar. There we have it. Alright, now the fun part. Now we'll take our scissors. We're going to trim this up a little bit. How's that camera angle there for you folks? We're still doing good. Alright, nice and level. I'm going to switch scissors. I'm going to go with a little bit longer. So here's the change we just made. We went from our short scissors to our long. Let's go ahead and set those back. I'm going to go right underneath. Nice clean cut. Boom. And then we're going to just come in here and do a couple of initial shaping cuts just to tame this madness. Can it be contained? Yes, it can. Alright. And if you promise to be safe and responsible, you take yourself a brand new double-sided blade. Right? Be careful and be safe with this. I'm going to add a little bit of extra light. That might blow out the camera, but I need to see. Give it a little bit of a bend, a little bit of a shape. We'll just take it right to that collar. And you make your head about as big or as little as you want it, as much shape or no shape as you want. You could easily continue that collar underneath, but I like having that flat bottom. Who doesn't like a flat bottom girl? Oh, no, that's not how the song goes. I don't know. We'll just take our time and be oh so careful. Oh so careful. This will make you bleed. There we go. Shape that out. And when you're done, let's put that in a safe place. We'll come back with our scissors and we'll just clean up any wild childs we got running away. Alright, so any questions? Let's go ahead and hear them. Questions, comments, concerns? Is there anything that I missed? Little wise ones out there? The first one, I completely forgot the bucktail. I was looking at it and it just wasn't sitting right. So, yeah, there we have it. That's a Marabou Muddler variation. That's how I like to tie 'em, or how I tie it tonight at least. Let's try another one. Let's see, we're at what? 6:30. I like it. I like it, I like it, I like it. So that was a half-hour tie. I gotta stop running over my cord. It's not gonna last long if I keep doing that. I've had to change my setup to my voice, my vocals is now coming over a gamer headset. So it's kind of interesting. It's something new, but that's what we got. All right, we're gonna take a quick pause. Think. Take a Go ahead. Yeah, let's go ahead and hear some. Let's. I want to see what town and country. Where is everybody watching from? Are you from Project Healing Waters program? Are you just a general viewer of All Tied Up Fly Tying School? Let's hear it. Let's see, and let's hear about one positive thing that you thought of today. It didn't have to happen today, but one positive thing you got to think about today. Something that made you laugh. So where you're from and something that made you laugh today. Something positive. There's a lot of craziness going on out there, and let's just take a minute and think of something positive. So something that made you laugh today. Go ahead and type that in the chat below, and if you're watching this afterwards, go ahead and leave that in the comments. And anybody that adds a comment on this video, if you add your comment, put a star or a smiley face in there, an emoji, and we'll add you to the list of awesome people. So, all right, let's go ahead and try another one. We'll set that one off to the side. And what's crazy is the mess this makes. You'll have to have the vacuum on standby, otherwise you won't want to necessarily do this on the kitchen table while you're making salad. Alright, let's see, what do we have here? So we got Jeffrey, he's in the program. People social distancing with their cars. That's a thing. Oh wow, I didn't know about that one yet. I saw, that's pretty cool. That's funny. Social distancing with their cars. I guess that's one way to do it. Alright, so here we go. Size 2 hook. I like this. I'm going for the bigger bass. I'm going for a big bass, and you catch big fish with big hooks. Right? Now, Andreas from Germany. And delivering beer to their neighbors with a remote control car. That's crazy. Around here, our local breweries are able to deliver beer. It's interesting. You go from a position where you can't buy alcohol or beer at the liquor store on Sunday to, hey, congratulations, Minnesota, we're going to allow you to have Sunday sales. Oh, and by the way, we're going to even let the places deliver it to you at your house. But hey, for all the sober people out there, stay sober. Don't revert, or do your best. There's plenty of coffee out there. It's funny because everybody made a run on the toilet paper, and I picked up a couple cans of coffee. What can I say? I can easily live without toilet paper, but you take that coffee away from me. Sorry, Charlie. Anyways, all right, let's go ahead and do our tail. For our red tail, we're gonna do our hackle, and if you go with the right size hackle, you know this first one that I tied. Let's just take a quick second and compare. You know, I tied this one before just to get a feel for it, but look at the difference in the lessons learned. This is my first one. This is my second one. It's a little bit smaller, a little bit more proportionate to the hook. I could probably go a little bit longer on the wing on this next one. So, it's not necessarily about tying the perfect fly the first time. It's all about moving on and changing things up. So we got Josh. He's just down the road here in Minnesota. Highlight today, he saw 2 bald eagles landing in your front yard. And your daughter and I just got to sit and watch. That's awesome. That is absolutely awesome. And you know it's true because you see them all the time here. Not all the time, but it's not uncommon to see a bald eagle here in central Minnesota, which is awesome. Loving it. All right, so hackle. I'm going to go ahead and do my high and tight after trimming off my fluff. Look at that. Let's go ahead and just a couple soft wraps to capture it. And just like that. And what's nice about this technique is you don't have to monkey around with a pair of hackle pliers necessarily. Because we're just taking a few wraps. We got the strongest part of that feather's tied in there. And yeah, did I say we're only taking a few wraps? Maybe 4. I'm going to do one more. One more, number 5, Johnny 5. Let's go ahead and a couple of wraps. Bada boom, bada bing. I love it. And because I'm using the 210 denier, I don't know. Maybe I could switch down to a 140 probably quite easily on this, which I might do on my next one if I can find it easily. Kind of situated. So I'm going to wrap back over those hackle wraps. There we go. And there's our tail. We have Steve Trybowski with what's up. Shout out to Steve from Central New York. He's helping his grandson getting his grandson through his elementary school classes. Yeah, that's. I'm sure that has to be. It's got to be absolutely amazing. From. I don't know. There's a reason why I'm sitting here doing this because I really found a lot of therapy from tying flies, but I found that I really enjoy teaching, and I don't think I could, go teach in a traditional school sense. I want to do my wire first. I'm gonna start that up there. Where'd my wire go? Oh, you know what? Just for giggles and grins, we're going to switch it to a red wire. Just because I have a little bit of this. Instead of that silver wire, we're going to go with the red wire. And this just helps that chenille from becoming a victim too easily. Because chenille on its own is not necessarily the toughest stuff in town. Yeah, Steve, you've definitely earned your way onto the honor roll here at All Tied Up. You've been playing along for quite some time, and I appreciate that. Hope everything is well in New York. Your governor is pretty awesome, I must say. All right, so here we go. We got our wire tied in, and we got our chenille tied in. And we took our thread to that 1/3, 2/3 point on the shank. I'm probably a little bit forward, but it'll be alright. Couple of wraps, there we go. Touching wraps, working our way forward. I like this black and silver chenille. A, it's what I have. B, it's not all bling. It's not all silver. It does have that kind of dark undertone, so I think it's going to give this just a little bit of contrast right there. Up and to the right. We'll tie this off. And we got Frank. Frank. What's going on? Wife came home today to fix dinner, and he was still in his PJs. Told her she was sheltering in place and waiting for the show. Well, hiya, Patches. Let's get this doggy going. Hey, I'm wearing my pajama pants right now. I'm not gonna lie. My pajama pants have little sheep on them. I'm wearing my bingo shirt. I got my bingo calling machine shirt on. Alright. We did our counter wraps to the rear. You know, I probably coulda, shoulda, woulda did a wrap or two of wire. You know what? It's not too late. It's not too late to change your mind. That's the beauty. I'm going to undo what I just did there with my wire, because what I want to do is I want to do a couple of wraps of wire right tight underneath the hackle. And that'll keep us from getting droopy tail. I like that. Now we got a loud and proud tail. Open spiral working that forward now. And there we go. We'll tie that off. 2 wraps on that side. Alright, instead of the helicopter, we'll come in with our nippers. Just like that. If you're going to use your scissors, I recommend not using your razors. Go all the way back. Go all the way back to the screw of that scissors if you're going to have to. I even have an old pair. This is my first pair of scissors. I had to keep it around just for giggles and grins. Not very sharp, but I do have some red paint on it. Lets me know that's my my old pair, or an old pair. All right, there we are. Let's go ahead and get our, where are we at? White bucktail. Alright, doesn't take much. I had a better pack. It's amazing how I can sit in one place, not move, and still lose stuff. Does that happen to you? Does that happen to anybody else? You can sit, not move, and lose stuff. Alright, so I'm going to lose a lot of that as I clean it. We're focusing on the tips. The Pajama Pop-Up Professor. Hey, Triple P. That's good though. You know, we live in a new world. Everything's different, everything's new. There's gonna be some growing pains, but you know, if you would have thought earlier this year you would have been teaching elementary classes, you probably would have said you're crazy. Or 2 years ago, you know. All right, we're gonna take this one out just a little bit further past, just a little bit long. So not too far. Let's keep that on top. This is our underwing. I like that. And then we'll do an angled cut. Just a little bit of a taper. That way we don't have a ledge or a cliff. I like that. All right. Let's get our Marabou on. Where did our Marabou go? That one, that one. Ball, 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 ball. Ball, 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 ball. Some are better than the others. Let's go this one. Alright, we're going to trim off not that much. And we'll fold that back. Before I fully commit to anything, I want to kind of measure and check. Measure and check. I'm going to take some of that back. That'll be enough. We'll get rid of the bulk. I like that. Tie that in. I like that. Beautiful. We're going to get our Peacock on there. We're getting down to the bottom of this bag of Peacock Herl, so we're dealing with little bits. 1, 2, tray 4. We'll take those. Everything we're just going to tie on. We're just going to tie on just a little bit longer than the last piece. I like that. And we'll clean that all up. There we have it. Time for a sip of coffee. Well, before we get too close to the end, since we have 10 people watching, what do we want to tie next week? What should we tie? Last week we did poppers. This week we're doing the Marabou Muddler variation. What are we going to do next week? I want to keep them, in the streamer category or panfish category, just to keep them a little bit bigger. Because my audience in mind are my Project Healing Waters crew from my local program, and I want to make sure they get in on some of this. Maybe tomorrow, next week. I'll tell you what. Next week, well, I did a Clousers just before all this stuff kind of went down. Just kind of on my own. All right, I'm gonna take about a pencil's worth. Give that a little pinch. Pinch, pinch, pinch. We're gonna switch cameras, not switch cameras, but switch angles. Wait. How does that work? Never done that before. That's interesting. I honestly, I had no idea I could do a split view like that. Yeah, I don't like that. It's a little bit too much going on. A little bit too much. Alright. Anyways, we'll give that a little pinch. Pinch on the tips. Give it a little bit of a twist. And we're going to give that a nice thorough cleaning with our brush. Maybe a booby eye streamer. Honestly, I have never tied a booby eye. we'll do that. Alright, got that all cleaned up. We're going to go tips down in our little hair stacker here. There we go. Hello. All right. Take that back right about there, right about halfway. They kind of ghost those tips right about halfway in. Frank says acrylics. You know, that's a good idea. Tighten that up. I like that. Bazinga. Alright, let's go ahead and add our next bit of deer hair. And what I do for my deer hair, I'll show you how I do this. I come in with my bodkin. I just go straight up. I pull up more than what I need. Drop my bodkin accidentally because I'm trying to do it in front of the camera now. Smooth that all out. And now I can work my way back, letting what I don't want to trim off. But it's 1,000 times easier to do it in your lap. Acrylics is similar to a Clouser minnow, but it's basically all tied with flash. It's, you know, I'll say that again. It's tied similar to a Clouser minnow, not quite exactly the same. Yeah, maybe we'll do that. Alright, so our next bit, same thing. Let's go ahead and clean and clear. Clean and clear. We're going to just pinch and pull and clean and clear. Clean the fluff. Clean the fluff. All out. Alright. Here we have it. So there's our butts to the left, towards the back, and tips up front. We're going to just trim those, get a lot of that out of the way. I'm going to set this right on top. And I'm favoring towards the flared section. Spin it until it stops. Work our thread through that. Excellent. Take our little magical Bic tool. Perfecto. Come with a little hair clip. Just get all this out of the way. Give us room for our whip finish. on the eye, but I'm not scared because I can pull that back, pinch it down. You know where that's going? Nowhere. That's where? Yeah, let's plan on acrylics next week. Alright, So, one of the things I did differently this time is I left my hair full length on that beginning part, which left us this long flared out part, which should help us kind of get it separated from our collar. Kind of wishing I went just a little bit denser on that, a little bit longer on that collar, but you know, whatever. We'll tie another one. Underneath side's not too critical. Here we go. Let's go ahead and give that a trim. Alright, that's our initial cut. Let's come in with our razor blade. Be oh so careful, boys and girls. Oh so careful. If you don't trust yourself with the razor blade, stick with the scissors. I'm going for a little bit of a cone, working my way back. Little bullet shape. And don't let that tip of that hook sneak up on you. Don't forget about that. That's brand new. That's hanging out on the back end. Closer to the fly. How's that? There we go. And if you're doing it right, you're not gonna your razor blades, unless you're buying like super expensive primo razor blades, you're not gonna get too much life out of them. At least I don't. Not out of these Derby extras. I bought a box of 1,000 blades on Amazon a long time ago, and it was dirt cheap. I think I paid like maybe $30 for 1,000 blades or something ridiculous. But yeah, if it's not cutting right, then you gotta get a different blade in there. It should just melt right off. And a good pair of sharp scissors for trimming. Josh, are you still watching? Are you still with me on this? I think I remember I didn't give you any deer hair, but I do remember at one of our sessions maybe I sent some home with everybody. So hopefully you can tie this. Tie along. Maybe just a little bit more. A little bit tighter on the coat head. And I have seen some versions and variations with a cone, brass cone head tied into it. I like the flat front end though. That's how we're tying it. Awesome. Cool beans. Alright, let's go ahead and try another one. So that was two in this first hour. I tell you what, these are a lot easier to tie when I don't have a camera sitting in front of me. Get that everything so much closer. But it is what it is. That's how we're doing it. Let's do another one. Ba-ding ding ding. I like that. I really like that. I think the hardest part about this whole operation is just wearing the headphones. You know, I'm not monitoring myself listening. Although I guess I could, but then again, every 2 seconds I get a slight delay, and then I get another slight delay. So, all right, let's try it again. Size 2. Let's see if we can't get that a little bit tighter into focus. It's a struggle because the computer, the autofocus, you know, if I sat here and did autofocus, y'all would be throwing up because it just racks back and forth like it's possessed. But anyways, all right, hold on 1 second. I gotta hit the mute. All right, let's do this. Once again, size 2. And we'll go ahead and start our thread using a 210, which is pretty big for this. You could get away with something small. You could get away with the 140. But I'm using a 210. Trying to be smart. Trying to work smarter, not harder on my thread wraps. Let's go ahead and take our thread wraps all the way to the rear end. Hashtag meow. Alright. A few turns of this will do. Go ahead and just trim off the fluff, and then we'll do our high and tight. Boom, boom, a little high and tight. That's the notch on the sides. So, all right. Let's go ahead and get that going. Huzzah! Check it out. Let's synchronize our watches. What's the time? 19:05 and 8 seconds, 7 seconds. It's Hackle time. That's what I know. Alright, let's go ahead and take a couple of turns. Oh no, look at that. It just split. Epic fail. Let's go ahead and try that again. We'll go ahead and take up our little nub of a stem. There we go. One more time for the people. There we go. Couple of turns. 1, 2, 3, and one more makes 4. I don't know if that was actually 4 wraps or not, but it was something. It was awesome. Is the B10 same like the F314? What is the F314? What manufacturer is that? Not familiar. It's a stinger hook. Take that right there. I'm not familiar with the make. Oh, the Gamakatsu. I am not familiar with that hook. Although nope, that's not it. That's not it. I'll have to definitely I'll have to look and see on a hook chart how that stacks up to everything else. I will definitely look into that, Andreas. Let me write that down. If you will, do me a favor. After this video's done, leave that in the comments for me so I can get back to you on that one and get back to the rest of the world next week, because I will definitely take note of that and we'll tell all our peoples. Alright, so this time we're going to do it just a slightly different. Instead of using the chenille, I have some silver diamond braid. It comes in a different configuration, all just kind of loosely wrapped up, and I put it on an old spool and ran it through the bobbin. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to tie in some red wire. And we're going to tie that in on the near side of the hook. And we're going to do our couple of wraps of this wire behind that hackle this time, like we did last time. I'm going to take our thread, and this is just a little bit less forgiving as far as how it wants to lay down and as far as neatness and such. So we're going to tie this in full length of our rear portion of our body, which is only 1/3, or 2/3 rather. I'm going to tie that in nice and tight. Trying to maintain a nice even keel on the body, and look at this. I'm going to flatten my thread, some counterclockwise wraps, get that nice and even. Bazinga. I like it. Alright. Just like we did with our chenille, we're going to take forward wraps with this. We're going to just pay attention and keep it nice and tight. Touching wraps. Palmering this forward. I think when this actually like lays down and taking a look at it, it almost reminds me of I don't know, some double mint bubblegum wrappers, just kind of crinkled and wrapped and chunked down there. So, you know, this is just a little bit different. That's why we're calling these variations. Because as you know, imagination is your only limitation. Couple of turns that way, and nice and tight. And this is not actually metallic, so we can cut it with our scissors. Bum ba bum 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 bum. All right, where are we at? We're gonna take a pause, take a sip of coffee, slurp that up. What's nice about the microphone is it has a little mute button, so I can hit mute and just not be offensive. I'll do another one underneath there. A couple wild childs running around, but we're not gonna lose any sleep on that. We'll trim those back. Anything going crazy right now, we'll just trim back. We'll do our ribbing. I like this kind of red and silver look. And the disadvantage for you folks is, you know, these cameras, especially this webcam, if I was able to do this right off of my smartphone, the video quality would be so much better. But it is what it is. Alright, we'll take our wire cutters and trim that off. Alright, let's go ahead. Fix this real quick. Alright. We won't have to trim those. I can just get away with. Command you to go back. Nope, those guys are not going to play nice, so off with their heads. Yeah. That'll be alright. Alright, Bucktail, little Underwing, let's do it. I like that. At one point, somehow, some way, I guess I just went through a couple of different bucktails and I just took all the brown and trimmed this all down into smaller usable pieces. So let's start with that, because we're gonna lose quite a bit as we clean off the littles. See, all of this just dropped right out, right away. That's not going to take much. We'll just go tips down on the stacker. Hello? We're here to tell you about our Lord and Savior, the Woolly Bugger. Alright, let's line up our underwing just a little tickle past our red hackle. Just a little tickle past that red tag. Oh my goodness, I just sneezed so loud. I was able to catch it, so you guys didn't blow out your eardrums. But we're good. I got a whiff of that bucktail. Alright, tie that on top. Let's go ahead and trim this off with a little angled, shallow angle cut. And we'll continue tying that down. You know what? I'm going to do one wrap. I'm going to do a couple more wraps. Get a little bit closer, and then we'll do one wrap or two underneath. I like adding these wraps underneath sometimes. It helps kind of flare and get things to pop and keep things from rolling around. So on and whatnot. Alright, Marabou. Let's get our Marabou. We'll get this one. Big old quill Marabou. And first things first, I'm just going to trim off about there. And let's go ahead and just start measuring this out. I think that'll work. Let's go ahead and just get rid of that bottom half. Alright, let's see where we're at. Just a little bit past that bucktail. And trim that off. We'll get our Peacock. Boom, boom, Peacock. One, two, three, four or so. Same thing, just a little bit further past. I like that. Alright, make sure that's all secured down. Bada boom, bada bing. Alright, let's do this. Let's get our Mega Supremo. I think it's cool. It's even called Primo. Primo. Primo Supremo. Be there, be there, be there. Alright, let's do our hair. That's where we're at. So again, I'm going to come in and just take my hair with my bodkin. And this first piece, we're not going to spin. This is just for our collar. So we're going to be focused on the tips. Give it a little pinch. And we'll clean this bad mamma jamma out. I just like going straight for the brush sometimes. Because the less junk you get in there, the better. Alright, tips down in our hair stacker. Just like that. Hello? Is there anybody in there? Yep. Okay, so on this last one, I said I wanted to go just a little bit, wanted a little bit more of a color. Right about there. Make sure it gets on the, at least onto the sides. I like that. We'll do another little chunk. I'm not really trying to go too bananas here, adding hair and compressing it in, spinning it and packing it and spinning it and packing it. This is just a do it twice and be done with it. I'm gonna go ahead and clean this out again. The cleaner the better. The better it will spin, the better it will look, the better it will float. There you go, everybody. Alright, so we're going to be spinning and everything with this butt sections there. So let's go ahead and just trim off the tips. Just be done with that. Fold that back. Set that right on top. And we're going to go 1, get a little bit of flare, and then 2, and then on 3, then we start compressing and spinning. Compress and spin, compress. And I'm holding on to the hook too. You really want to have a good bite on the hook when you do that. So, you know, I'm actually holding on to the hook. I'm not trusting the jaw 100% on those spins. Not that I don't. It's just that I don't. Trust no one. Dr. Jones, I told you not to trust anyone. I know. Alright, let's go. Where'd my. Get our thread right up there. And that's beautiful. That is fantastic. A little whip finish action. Nice and tight. I like it. I like it a lot. Once we got that secured and tied off and trimmed away, now we'll come in here with our brush. Fluff and fluff. That'll help us when we go to trim. That's so much fun. This is such a fun fly to tie. I don't know what to say. It's involved. It takes a lot of practice. I mean, I honestly I give myself like an A minus on these. So let's go ahead. Get our big scissors out, our big boy scissors. We'll trim off the bottom. And we'll just kind of get our initial whack-a-mole down. Here we go, we're getting there. Alright, where did our blade go? Underneath all that hair. Yeesh. Oh, so carefully we'll get our razor blade and we'll start shaping our little cone head. Bullet head. I like that. Don't worry about trying to trim it all the way to the collar, because you can just come in with your scissors and trim that down a little bit. Be careful, you'll cut your thread if you're not paying attention down there. Alright, we're on to scissors, back to scissors. Get rid of some of those randoms. Like that. Fantastic, I say. I like it. I just like it. All right. Questions? How we doing out there? That's the Muddler Minnow, a little Marabou Muddler variation. Let's see, where are we at? 1930, 1928, thereabouts. That'll fish all day long, I'll tell you that for free. All right, let's see, well, let's do one more. And what should we do for colors? Let's get a couple suggestions for our tail color and our Marabou color. Anything different than red and white. Otherwise, we're going to tie it about the same. And I'm going to go back to the chenille. I kind of like the look of the chenille. But that's pretty tight too. Ohio, Ken, how's it going? Thanks for tuning in. It is morning. Good morning. I need to learn how to say good morning in Japanese. I can say that. Good morning in Japanese. Actually, you know what we could do? We're going to do that later. I'm going to do, look on my YouTube, or on Instagram. If you're on Instagram, I'll probably do it on Facebook too. What did he call that? Bear Owens. I'm going to pull it back up on Facebook. Here it is. It's the, get in there, the Safety Bug Challenge, taking a stand against this virus by sitting at my bench. This was something that our good friend and Bear Owens, he's down in, I'm drawing a Carolina, I believe. And join the Safety Bug Challenge. Tie up your favorite fly on a safety pin. You don't have to post it on the wall, but if you're on the Facebook world, go ahead and do that. Yeah, this will be something to kind of remember these times by when you go back and you see your little safety pin fly. So maybe next week we'll do that. I'm gonna figure out the best way to tie a woolly bugger. We'll tie a quick woolly bugger on our safety pin next week as well. So next week we're gonna do the Stay Safe Out There Safety Bug Challenge. I also had an idea for a lefty-righty challenge on Instagram where we tie a fly left-handed and again tying it right-handed. Pull my phone back out because my phone is where I monitor my comments in the chat. I hear chartreuse is a good color. We'll do a chartreuse. We'll do chartreuse marabou. Alright, we'll do that. Hey Dale, thanks for tuning in. We're tying our marabou muddler variations. And we're on our final one for the evening. And Josh spoke up and said chartreuse. So we're going to do a chartreuse wing. I'm going to stick with the red tag end. I'm going to stick with the red tag. We're just going to change that that marabou wing. I do like the look of that red tag, and don't want to get rid of that red. Thread to the rear. And let's go ahead and just trim that off. Trim off the fluff. And that'll leave us. I'm looking at the length of this, the furthest. And that'll be alright. It's not too bad. Still a little long, but there is so much fur and fluff sitting on my bench. It's ridiculous. Don't drop a needle in there. You'll never find it. Alright, let's go ahead and tie in our hackle. And actually, Dale, since you're just joining us, you're just in time. Because you know what time it is, ladies and gentlemen? You know what time it is? Let's synchronize our watches. The time is 9:34 and 23 seconds. It's hackle time. How about it? Let's go ahead and palmer this forward. Couple of wraps. Couple of turns here at the back end. This is going to be our tag end. Let's do 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 wraps. It all depends. It all depends on the hackle. Listen to your hackle, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to speak to you. There we go. All right. Let's see here. This thing go. Let's go ahead and fold this up and back. Right to the end. Oh. There we go. stick to our silver wire. We'll switch back to that. We'll save that red. We're getting kind of down to the bottom end of that red wire. I don't know if I have any on hand to replace that when we run out, but we're going to tie our wire in. We'll set that off to the side. Alright, we're going to switch back to our black and silver chenille. I don't have any just straight silver chenille. That's typically what you find on the Marabou muddlers. On the traditional Muddler Minnow, I believe you just use a flat silver mylar. I like this. Alright, let's strip off a little of the fuzz. And we'll tie this in. Bada boom, bada bing. Right there. Because we gotta leave room up front for our deer hair front end, our collar, and our bullet head. Bullet head. That was, yeah, it was a character on the Steve Harvey show. One of the kids. He wasn't the smartest crayon in the box because he had a bullet in his head. Nope, too far. So yeah, next week we're going to tie the acrylics. I think that's going to be fun. So get your flash and Flashaboo ready. And we're going to have a good time. We're going to take some counter wraps with our silver wire. Open spiral. Secure that down. And Hercules. Too easy. A little trim. A little trim. That works. Don't get too fussy with that. Alright, let's... Oh yeah, we're going to switch colors. We need our... If it ain't chartreuse... Nope. That's ostrich. Let's go to our marabou. There we go. Hot chartreuse marabou. It's a slightly different marabou, but... I think this will suffice. Not a big old quill, but... Oh, we gotta do our underhair first, our underwing. Chartreuse Bucktail. Let's grab our chartreuse Bucktail. Oh, and I just cleared and sorted and organized all my Bucktail. That's red, that's blue, that's brown. Where's my chartreuse? There you are. The bag of Bucktail. Let's go ahead. Yeah, this will work just fine. Same thing, just like we did before. We'll clean off those little, clean out the littles. Run a brush through it if you want. And we're going to run this into the hair stacker, just like that. got us a little bit. Right there at our length of that tag end. Little chartreuse underwing there, I like that. Cut that at a diagonal. We get a nice little even ramp. Alright, now where did we do with our Marabou? Same thing, we're gonna find that inner stem and trim off the tip. Feels like I got two, but about like so. And that way we're left with the two outer bunches. You don't want to go too thick with that. This will work. Yeah. Let's go ahead and measure that out. Cool. Once we're satisfied with that length, we can just go ahead and tie that in. Ooh, that's gonna be hot. That's gonna be hot, hot, hot. I know it's a UV because that's turn on the lights. Let's grab some Peacock. Don't want to get skimpy on that just because we're getting towards the end, but we'll line those up right about there. Keep them on top. Bada boom. Alright, who do we got here just popping in here? Zolfo, Z-O-L-F-O. Greetings, my fellow fly tyers. Welcome! Welcome to the Project Healing Waters Fly Tying Special, where we'll be tying flies every Wednesday from 6 o'clock to 8 o'clock Central Standard Time for the immediate future. Yeah, it's going to be a while before we get into the VA hospital. That's not an official stance, that's just my personal stance. It's going to be a while, so I am committed to tying flies here Wednesdays. You know, then again, when it starts to get warmer and hopefully they allow us to just kind of get back out into the general public, you know, we'll have to get the veterans together and get a line wet, if you know what I mean. Let's get our deer hair together here for our collar here. Give that a little pinch. Pinch and twist, pinch and twist. Take our brush and clean, clean, clean. And we got Jessica Husingfeld. What's up, girl? We're on our final fly. She's excited because I don't have to drive home tonight. I get to just be home after I'm done. Alright. We'll take our little collar here. Right about there. That's too much. Make sure it gets all the way, not all the way around, but on the tops and the sides is at least. This one's going to be. I might get 2 extra clumps of deer hair on this one. This one's a little bit shorter than the other one. Like I said, it's getting to be a day here. Yeah, 2-hour live streams. That's quite a bit to just keep a consistent jibber jabber conversation going. But we're doing good. We're doing all right. We're here for the hustle. We're here for the fight. Yeah, walk up slow just to keep things like normal. Yeah, exactly. Well, I will call my dad. I usually call the old man after I'm done here with Project Healing Waters just to check in, and I drop off Frank, and then I call the old man on the drive home just to check in, see how things are going, because that used to be the perfect time, because he used to work. Now he's retired, and we can talk whenever we want now. But, kind of keeping things. I'll just call in and check and see how things went, because I'm sure he might have pulled out his vise and stuff. Let's go ahead and trim off our tips. Yeah, we're going to do a double. Spin on that one, because I know we got plenty of hair still. One more time. We're going to do one more little pinch up front. One last little bit just to get us a little bit closer to the eye of the hook. You know what? I'm not. I'm just gonna. No, that's gonna leave us a weird little nose. I can't decide. Frank is back. Welcome back, Frank. Oh yeah. Well, we're gonna cut it down. We're gonna play barber and give this a respectable trim. We're gonna go with just a little more hair here. All right, let's do this. Rough and tough like an Afro puff. So yeah, mark your calendars. Wednesdays from 6 o'clock to 8 o'clock. We're going to do this until I can start fishing. If there's a Wednesday night and it's starting to look prime outside, we might have to shift our hours a little bit. Alright, I'll set that right on top. We gotta spin our thread counterclockwise or anti-clockwise, whichever part of the world you're from. We'll do our first one. Here we go. And spin, spin, spin. The spinsters. Fold that all back. That's what I like. I like getting right up there behind the eye of the hook. Let's see here. I need to quit monkeying around. There we go. Hurry up and whip finish, Aaron. Hurry up. Here we go. 1, 2. Oh, nope, 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 nope. We have a fail. Yeah, it's not going to be the cleanest of front ends, but I'm not going to lose any sleep about it. All right, let's go ahead and prepare to shave. Just going to get the butt sections of that deer hair kind of flipped forward. See how I kind of got that line going now? Square that all up so we can trim it all off. All right. How's that for a view? Oh. All right, let's go ahead and start trimming. All right, my first one's going to be right on the bottom. I'm going to gather all that nice clean cut right underneath the shank, just like that. All right, let's go ahead and start getting that a little bit closer. Starting to get a little clickety-click. I don't know where that came from. Now, if you get busted stealing anything from your wife or daughters, if you get in trouble, don't hold me accountable. Borrow your supplies at your own risk. Alright. Same thing with these razor blades. Please be oh so careful. You will bleed if they cut you. And it's going to hurt the whole time. Good enough for now. I'll come back in here. Give that one last kind of tough out. And go ahead and trim this off. Just says she'll allow it. It is allowed. Thank you. There we go. Not quite the best there, but it'll swim. That will swim for sure. All right. There. Ouch! That's a sharp hook. Alright, we're going to leave it at that before we go. All right, so moving forward, next week we will be tying some Crelixes. Moving forward, we'll be doing this again next week, Wednesday, from 6 o'clock to 8 o'clock Central Standard Time. We're doing this in lieu of my local Project Healing Waters program meeting at our VA hospital. And while we are basically on house arrest, not house arrest, but they're using a term called stay-at-home Minnesota. So for the next 2 weeks, at least, we will be staying home. I got enough groceries and stuff, so I shouldn't have to run out for anything. I had plenty of toilet paper before this all started, so we're good there. Want to encourage everybody, reach out to somebody, anybody, and just check up on them. See how they're doing, whether they're a neighbor, a friend, family member, somebody across town, across the country, somebody you spoke to last week, or somebody that you haven't talked to in a long time. It says our opportunity to be the better people that we know we are inside. Yeah, so stick with it, folks. We're all in this together. It's all new. It's all different, but it's not the end. Yeah, I think we're going to go ahead and just leave it at that. Stick with me. Next week, we're going to be tying Crelixes. Follow along on Instagram. I do pop-up live streams on Instagram. I may or may not do another pop-up here on YouTube. And I also do them on Facebook Live, so on and whatnot. So, yeah. Leave your comments below if you're watching this later on. Yeah, thank you all for tuning in. Stay happy, stay healthy. Happy tying, and tight lines, everybody. Peace.